So,
Ironically,
Take two.
We got canceled
What
because
episode
the
is
microphone. This is episode 7.
This is season 2?
Volume 2, episode.
What does volume mean?
That means year.
So it's not, it's season 2.
Yeah, season 2. Mm-hmm.
All right, season 2, episode what?
7. Take 3. Take 2, yeah. Well, here we are. Here we are to talk about some cancel culture stuff that's prevalent
like
in society.
What would happen in a basketball game if all of a sudden you get through the first 8 minutes and it's like, oh, wait a minute, the basket's at the wrong height. You're gonna start all over again.
Well, the thing is, we're not rehearsed. So,
no, we're not. And not even prepared for my standpoint.
Yeah. Neither prepared
So that helps.
nor rehearsed.
Makes it a lot easier for me to just boom, jump right back into it, the whole thing.
Well, you were mentioning before something on your way over.
Already
You said,
Wait, do we have to refill?
well, we can always pause it.
I know we can. That's the beauty of this.
But you said you saw you were asking me why a fireman was out there in the street or
Oh,
something.
you're blowing the whole cover of this thing. No, it was a guy walking down the street at night with a full reflective vest on, but walking in the street and not walking on the sidewalk. He could have been just wearing all black.
And there is a sidewalk. I mean, there's a sidewalk.
There's a sidewalk
on both sides.
Yeah. It's almost like a couch and a half. It's that wide. Mm-hmm. But he's walking in the street, but he's got a reflective thing on. What's up with that? Why would you? I mean, he really should be doing both if he's that nervous. That's almost like wearing 2 masks. Wearing a reflective.
See, Biden today wearing 2 masks.
Did he really?
Oh, yes. And the thing is, I've noticed when people do this, the 2 maskers, what they do is they do 2 different color masks.
Yes.
So they say, hey,
obvious.
look at me, I got 2 masks on. Yeah.
Oh,
so they do 2, one's different size and shape, so they can say, oh, look, see, I got 2 masks
When you were playing baseball, did you ever wear 2 cups?
No.
2 sport bras?
Yes. 2 cups.
You're you're trying to run down to first base. You're I can't. I've got 2 cups on. And one in the back.
Cups.
Oh, God.
So this guy, though, but so he's walking in the street and there's a sidewalk, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
did he have a mask on? Tell me he did not have a mask on.
I don't know. It wasn't reflective, so maybe the one underneath was reflective. I couldn't really tell, but
2 masks.
It almost makes you want to just kind of do a little brush by, just a little brush off. Be like, oh, he can go home and be like, oh, good thing I had this reflective thing on. I would have gotten hit.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, speaking of masks, right?
Yeah.
Yesterday, I watched the end of the golf tournament.
Oh, we didn't do this in the first part of the show. This is good. This is all brand new.
The end of the golf tournament, and it was sudden death. So as soon as it was over, boom, local news came on. And I rarely watch local news. And I rarely watch news at all. But it just happened to be on the TV. And the first story, their lead story, out of all the news they could cover in the world, this was their lead story. It was Duke University starting an investigation because some kids were at a party maskless. 50 kids were at a party and they were maskless, and that was the lead story. That, oh my God, we need to launch an investigation, and these kids face potential discipline from the school for being at a party outdoors. Not wearing a mask. How's that the number one story, though? How's that lead story of all the things? Because the second story they had was about a local girl that was kidnapped. Right?
Who was she kidnapped by?
She was kidnapped by someone. You look like a gamer.
Was it like a stranger? Or
I don't know. I don't know all the details because it was the second story.
Like
they didn't.
Stepdad.
Yeah. No, but he had his mug shot. He wasn't well kept. and his eyes kind of went like this.
Oh boy,
So
that's dangerous.
He had the funny eyes. But girls kidnapped from North Carolina, taken to Arkansas, and they rescue her yesterday. How is that not the number one story?
I mean, I think the number one story is that how does this guy with his eyes like this drive to Arkansas? Is he like driving like do the eyes go like this? Like if they're this way and you're driving, does one eye go this way?
He has good peripheral for sure. He has good peripheral. Just can't see things right in front.
Now, is this the guy that has the weird eye that every once in a while one of the eyes
lines
is
up
right? Yeah. And you get yourself focused on that eye, and then all of a sudden you're like, holy crap, it's the other eye that's in there.
If I remember the picture correctly, because they just flashed up on the screen, I think they were both like off. Yeah. And I'm not sure if that has anything to do with him kidnapping anyway, but
that's got to be weird.
So the point is, the story was about kids, like college kids not wearing masks. That was the number one story, lead story. When you have somebody that's rescued, I mean, it's just mistrust. To me, it just adds to the mistrust I have in the media.
It's funny that it was Duke too, because it reminds me of a story probably 3 or 4 years ago. No, yeah, I guess it was about that. We went to an NC State football tailgate. Mm-hmm. This is when my buddy from Las Vegas was out here, and we ordered out it, and everybody is dressed up like they're going out on the town. And this is at like 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, right? Yeah. So my buddy Steve looks at me. He says, for God's sake, he goes, where do they keep the ugly ones? Because they're all like that, right? So we ended up going to that football game. And then that night, Duke was playing Virginia Tech. So we went to both games. And we went to the second game at Duke.
Nobody.
No, that's when we realized where all the ugly people are. So I would think that they would want masks. Like, there are certain places where the mask is helping.
That's what I've said before. I've said that, I mean, the people that benefit most from the masks are the ugly people.
Oh, the bad teeth?
Ugly people and thieves.
From the UK.
Yeah. I think I said this. I think I said this
like
before.
Me with a big nose, because it's not easy to get a mask that doesn't like
Pinocchio with the mask. I know I've said this before, but you can say now, like, it used to be like she's a two-bagger.
Yeah.
Now it's she's a two-masker.
Two-masker, yeah. They need masks with little holes for eyes. I went to Trader Joe's over the weekend. I'm telling you right now, I will never go back to that store again. They are the store itself and the people that are working there are one thing, but the people that shop there, I can't deal with this.
The hipsters,
I can't deal with this mask. I mean, they're like
smelly.
They're so. It's like COVID store. All they wanted, they're like, they go in there with their masks and everything, and they're in their environment. Nobody can like cross over and grab something, or it's like, excuse me. They really, you know how they show like the people wearing like those huge tubes? Mm-hmm. They need to be giving those out at the store. Like, here's your tube. You are in a safe place right here. Nobody will get within your.
I don't see, like,
I can't. I
stores, though, of all places, would probably be the most, and if there's anything, I'm not saying there's any place dangerous, but would probably be the most susceptible to sharing diseases because people are picking up stuff. I mean, do you pick it like I do? I pick up the avocado, and I'm like, no, not that one. I mean, am I coveting that avocado?
I mean, yeah, I guess so.
I always like that. I have a license. I don't avocado. I don't have a car though. Yeah. So no, I thought we were done with COVID talk. By the way,
it's just fun because it's so stupid.
So we're talking cancel culture here. Cancel culture
What
being...
is that picture right there? That somebody's being scribbled out?
Yeah, they're being canceled.
Okay.
Yeah, that person's being canceled.
I mean, it's only one side that's being canceled, too.
There's no pretty much.
There's no like, oh, these people are being canceled and these people are being canceled. It's like these people are being canceled from this side all the way over here.
It's conservatives for the most part. If you don't vote, if you don't vote,
if
far
you're not
left,
a socialist,
far left, yeah.
If you're not far left, you're canceled.
Yeah, which is ironic because I got a couple of examples here of people that have been canceled. And what you would think they would be far left people, but it turns out they weren't. That's why it was easy to cancel them. But, so we've seen it. Most recently is this guy right here. This Chris.
Why are you skipping over?
I'll get to him.
Mike Lindell.
I'll get to Mike Portera.
Mike Lindell.
I'll get to him
over there.
But this guy here, what triggered it for me was finding out about the Bachelor host or whatever he is, facilitator, getting canceled. And
does anybody
never watched the show in my life. I have in passing maybe seen a minute or two here, but never watched the show, so I really don't care about the show. But when I found out what he got in trouble for, I was baffled. I mean,
I think the show should have gotten canceled years ago.
Well, you think about it. So it's
the stupidest show ever.
They're talking about him with moral standards. They need moral standards.
I know.
For him.
Yeah,
but the show is about sleeping around with 20 other people.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Yeah. It's sexist, I guess, because you have the Bachelorette. There's one chick and there's 25 guys, and there's 25 chicks and one guy. I mean, what's next? Are they gonna have like a transgender bachelor? I bet you that's coming. Watch.
That I might watch. That could be kind of fun to watch. Where you wouldn't. Oh, what about this? Where you really didn't know which was which, and then all of a sudden, like
you find out
this guy's like with this, like with what he thinks is like this super hot girl, and it's like.
Do they show him come running out and screaming?
The hell is this?
That's why you always check the Adam's apple.
It's like a whack-a-mole.
Check the Adam's apple.
I don't know. They even have Adam's apples now.
Like Jennifer Garner.
Yeah.
I get in trouble for bringing that one up all the time. So the Bachelor guy gets canceled because
who gives you trouble?
Other people, just people.
Like who?
Just people.
Give me a rhyme a name like you normally do.
Fat Morrissey.
What?
Lannis. Whois.
They get mad at you about saying that? Yeah. Why?
I don't know, because I believe it. I believe that.
I know, but why do they care?
I don't know. They just think that it's...
They really get mad or just
not mad. They just say I'm stupid.
Yeah.
But...
There's other things
Fat
that we can
call
you stupid about. Fat Morrissey.
It's like Rod Haddock. It's like names from the Flintstones.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, so he gets in trouble. He gets forced to resign from his position because
he
in
resigned?
an interview, yes,
he resigned.
He stepped down, but it was like forced, I'm sure. By the way, I found out he's a producer of the show too, so he's still making some money off of it, but he's no longer the host, which he's been the host ever since it started. And he was in an interview, and they were asking him about one of the contestants that's currently on the show that went to a Old South ball that they have at the Kappa Alpha KAs have in their fraternity. They've had the old antebellum stuff. Girls wear those big dresses, and the guys dress up in old South type uniforms and that. And they asked him about it, and should she apologize for that? And all he said was, "Look, let's not render judgment yet. Let's hear from her. You know, she may have not meant anything by it, or didn't know better, or whatever." And instead of him saying, "Oh, she must apologize," because he didn't apologize for her not yet apologizing, he got canceled.
Yeah.
He didn't say a word about it, negative, like for it, against it, anything. He just said, "Let's just not rush to judgment." And so that gave me great pause this weekend. I'm like, golly, it's getting out of control. The cancel culture is getting out of control.
Where's it going to end up? Like,
I don't know.
Where does it end up? That what? We just have like what? Like who's left? Who's going to be left?
The left.
Everybody. I know, but everybody has a past. You're not going to put Maxine Waters on there to replace him on the show. That's for sure.
Why not?
Huh? Oh, she got some skeletons.
Doesn't matter though. She fits that.
Could you imagine her though? That would be gross.
You mean Maxine Waters, the lady that called for riots back in the summertime?
Yeah.
Well, there's some other business ones or entertainment ones that we've seen recently, and that's that Gina Carano lady that was in Mandalorian. Again, I never watched it, but apparently she said something like being a conservative in Hollywood's like being a Jew in Nazi Germany or Nazi. Probably not the smartest thing to say, but okay. You cancel her for it? You kick her off the show?
Kick her off the show. I know.
I mean, she's probably going to get more from it, though.
Yeah. You got to go dig for that. Even the fact that she said it. Nobody we know she said it if somebody didn't like. There's people out there right now scouring the internet.
Oh, yeah.
They're looking into everybody's Facebooks and things like that. This person said this person said that.
Yep. I can imagine that some people come across this show.
Never find this show.
They come across this show.
I mean, we need a plan.
Well, Chris, there's certain people that are beyond being canceled, no matter what they do.
We need a plan.
An exit strategy?
No, we need a plan. What if all of a sudden next week people come out to tune in for this show and we're not here? How are we going to communicate with them? What do we do?
Yeah, it'd be like shutting down Parler, right?
I know. Like, what are we going to do? Where's our voice going to go? How are we going to get out? People need us. Mm-hmm. I mean, we're obviously an international phenomenon.
Sensation.
Like, all right, yes, sensation phenomenon.
Like the monkeys.
Yes. We have to start working on a plan. Next week's show is going to be our plan.
The deep dark web.
If for some reason we get kicked off the world wide web, what are we going to do? How are we going to communicate with our audience? Because they're not going to know what to do.
Because YouTube they could kick us off because they're kind of left leaning too.
Yeah. Anyway,
so that's next week's show.
We'll talk about that offline. You hear that on all these calls that we are. Well, you know what? We'll deal with that offline. Uh-huh. We'll deal with that offline.
But now everything's online because you're not face to face. This one made me laugh a ton, and that was a week or two ago. Country star Morgan Wallen, he and his buddies, his pals, his buddies, went out all night, and they came back in. They got back to his house. There were paparazzi outside filming, and they're all just kind of leaving. They've been around. They've been drinking and whatnot, and he yells down to a group of his friends. He says, "Tell them, pussy ass niggas, And so somebody caught on tape, and it went viral. Look at the racist, blah blah blah. So country stations, CMT pulled all of his stuff off. All his videos, all his music, everything off. He got canceled because of that. Now, I'm not saying it's the wisest thing to say that, but the same people that pulled his stuff off, Pandora.
Oh, they'll play all kinds of stuff.
Nicki Minaj. Let me tell you some of the song titles she has. These are songs.
Minaj et Trois?
Nicki Minaj has Bitch, I'm Madonna. Boss Ass Bitch. These are names of songs. Fuck the Bullshit. There's a song that she's in with Lil Jon and a few others. It's called, and it spells out Niggas. That's the name of the song. Hit song. Has over 3 million, I think, YouTube views. And she won an award for a song in 2014, which was number 4 in 2014. Looking Ass Nigga. She gets awards for it where Morgan Wallen gets canceled. I don't understand it. I don't understand it.
That's pretty bad.
So now, I mean, if somebody checked my search engine results, what I went after today, and saw that the songs that I was pulling down, I mean, would I be canceled?
I mean, I don't want to do the show on my own.
Yeah, I mean, you would
That's
have
why
nothing.
I don't research.
You would have nothing. So I'm not saying that Nicki Minaj should be canceled. I'm not saying that at all. But I was just drawing a comparison because as soon as I heard that story about Morgan Wallen and him getting removed, I was thinking, oh, wait a second. I hear stuff like that all the time. I'm not offended by it. I'm like, I can choose not to listen to it. That's the thing, is like you have choices. You choose not to go. You can choose not to go to Trader Joe's.
Right. I will. Yeah, I will. I'm going to.
You're going to not go?
I'm going to not go.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing. That's how you.
Or I'm not going to go.
Yeah.
Just to make sure I don't double negative myself. I'll never go in there again.
Here's some business ones happened here recent months. A Boeing executive, executive obviously for Boeing, wrote an opinion article in 1987. 1987.
Wasn't that like when we, as the white supremacists, we were cooking back in 87. Well, we were running on all cylinders.
Oh yeah, because of Ronald Reagan.
Yeah, we were cruising then. You can't blame them for that.
So his had nothing to do with race. At the time, he was a fighter pilot for the Air Force, a 29-year-old fighter pilot. And at the time, there was debate about whether or not women should be in fighter jets and all that. And his opinion was no. And it had nothing to do with, it wasn't sexist in a way that he said women couldn't do it. He said women shouldn't do it because as a male pilot, he wouldn't want to see, he might overcompensate, worried about the wing, instead of wingman, wing lady, and not be 100% focused. 1987, though. Somebody dug up the article last year in 2020, and he got removed from his position.
Did you hear what?
33 years later.
Yeah, that's insane.
And he didn't. And it wasn't a article that said that women are they can't. They're not as good as men. It's just that the military wasn't ready for women fighting combat planes at the time. Proved to be wrong, but opinion piece 33 years later.
You hear about, and I don't know if this is on your list here because I haven't seen or
prepared
spoken to you at all about this. But do you know Mike Milbury? Is he on your list?
Who?
Mike Milbury was a hockey player. Played for the Bruins.
Yeah.
He was on like when they have like the hockey games that are actually on TV. The very far and few between, but like on like NBC.
No, like when they do the outdoor ones sometimes, and
whatever. He just got kicked off this year. He was one of there were three broadcasters. He got kicked off this year because he made a comment about that the players were playing in the bubble, all that stuff. He said that, it's been a good thing that they haven't had like women around to distract them or something like that. Boom. He's off. Some new guys on the set.
Cancel.
And he was good. He was a good.
Well, and the thing is, there are people that argue. There was a Time magazine article, it was last year or 2019, that said cancel culture does not exist. It's a figment of imagination. But it's written by a Time magazine.
Time magazine,
which is
kind of
liberal,
canceled,
right?
Do they even have Time magazine anymore?
I don't know if they
When
print
was the last
anymore.
time you actually saw a Time magazine?
Mm-hmm.
Or a magazine?
Mm-hmm.
I get men's health.
I
Men's Health,
I get
right?
magazines.
I get Men's Health. I've been getting it for years and years.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like waiting for. I don't know whether I got like a 2-year subscription or what. I'm waiting for this thing to run out because the entire magazine right now is all about this
COVID.
No, it's not about COVID. It's about like this just this whole societal thing and like oh these are all these like African Americans that were suppressed and things like that. It's like I just want to see some workouts and like recipes, whatever. Like I don't need this. I don't.
So
need
they've gone into men's mental health, which
yeah.
is
I don't need to be indoctrinated. Like that's not one of there's plenty of magazines for that right now. Ever since this whole thing with the George Floyd and all that crap, every single one that I've gotten over the past 6 months, it's like I'm sitting through there and I'm just like, this is freaking bullshit. I don't need this. That's not why I get this magazine.
Get rid of it.
Oh, well, I'm waiting.
Cancel
like
it.
I said, I'm going to cancel it as soon as I can. I probably paid for it already, but it's like, God, I'm just hoping I'll get the next one. I'll be like, oh, for fuck's sake, what are you doing? I don't need this crap.
But they probably got a series on it now, so they banked all these articles they're going to release about that.
That doesn't mean that I don't like that. I'm not. Yeah. Okay. Great. Yeah. Let's.
Look at you, like you're justifying yourself.
I don't need to read about it. I don't want to read about it. That's not why I get the magazine. They have newspapers for that. They have the New York Times. They have places for you. You can go watch CNN. You can go get that stuff. That's not what you get a health magazine for.
You're correct.
You get a magazine like that for health.
Hence the name. Men's Health. Now they're going to get canceled because it says Men's Health. They need to make that.
It'll just be like transgender.
I got another word for you coming up here, with all this. How about remember the Goya Foods executive?
Yeah.
Last year, just said that something to the effect that he supported Donald Trump. Who, by the way, coincidentally, he's of Puerto Rican descent. So everybody's wanted to have a boycott of buying Goya beans. Their sales were up 70%.
Yeah.
The boycott became a boycott. So I don't know. I mean, it's just. I mean, a lot of people. Goya has a lot of stuff. You gotta. You can't just cancel that. But again, if you have a CEO, say Apple CEO, what's his name, Cook, whatever, so supporting Bernie and then Biden, is anybody calling for him to be canceled because he? Right. I mean, I love it. They were telling this guy. They were saying that he shouldn't support Trump because Trump's racist. This guy is Puerto Rican. Which, by the way, Puerto Rican is not a race.
No.
It's a nationality. It's like when they say Mexican. It's like you're putting up that wall as racist because they're Mexican. I said, Mexican's not a race, it's a nationality. It's like you make fun of Chinese people. You're not being racist. You're being maybe xenophobic at worst, right? I can't have an argument with it either.
Did you see my new sneakers?
Yeah, I did. They look light.
How often do you get new sneakers? Do you get new sneakers a lot?
I think I do.
Like, when do you decide, do you go somewhere and say, I'm going to get a pair of new sneakers? Like, do you go out? Like, it's Saturday, I'm going to go buy new sneakers. Or are you out somewhere and you're like, you know what? Those sneakers are cool. I'm going to buy those.
I don't think I've gone to a shoe store or bought a pair of shoes at a store in
So what do you
5
buy
years.
them online?
Mm-hmm.
Well, so what makes you buy them?
Well, there's like certain, it depends on what it's for. I'm saying golf shoes. I don't need golf shoes.
That's
okay.
different. These are like every day.
Sneakers, which isn't a word. It's tennis
It is.
shoes.
How do you go around
know,
quietly?
But sneakers.
You don't tennis around quietly. You sneak around.
It depends on what the use is for.
What's the last pair of tennis shoes that you bought?
Would you count like these? Would these types be considered tennis shoes?
I mean, kinda, I guess
Yeah.
so. But you don't wear those like.
I
You
would
wear
say
those
probably.
do you ever wear those when you're not at a Wakefield event?
Yeah.
You do?
I'm gonna wear it today. I'm gonna go to the Wakefield event today.
Why would you wear
They're
those?
maroon, by the way. If you're maroon is they're training shoes, coaching type shoes.
You don't want to get them up on the screen?
I guess I can. I want to see what size is better than this right there.
Look at this.
It does match.
I'm afraid
It matches everything.
I'm afraid to ask you what color your underwear is. I can see your short. Oh, they're black.
Black.
Good job.
So last time I bought sneakers, I'm gonna say was probably, what are we at? We're in February. It was probably summer of last year, August maybe.
When did you buy?
I bought some just training shoes, just kind of workout training,
You
crossover shoes, cross training shoes.
No.
Yeah, they're still in the box.
To me, it's an event. To me, when I'm like, all of a sudden, I'll be like, you know what? I need another pair of. I call them sneakers. I don't know why, but
And those are the latest ones you bought, right?
yeah, I bought them the other day,
And those are so susceptible to getting dirty.
and I'll have to watch them. So I have a black pair. Obviously.
Same kind?
No, no, I don't buy like the same kind. I have a black pair. I have this white pair.
Mm-hmm.
I had a gray pair, but they were starting to like the soles coming off, so I got rid of those.
That's how you get rid of that, yeah.
And I have a blue pair. That's it. That's all I have for like. I'm not a shoe collector.
I have to say that I have probably in the ballpark, if you're counting boots, like cowboy boots and dress shoes and sneakers and trainers or coaching shoes, I probably have in the ballpark of 30 pair, 30, 40 pair.
You have 60 shoes.
Yeah. But I mean, they're all serve a purpose. Like I have different colors. I have
count
blue,
all of those.
I have gray, I have maroon, I have black for that, for coaching purposes.
So it's a very diverse group.
And I have
It's kind of like a
three
a
sets of
Verizon.
cowboy boots, different colors.
It's a Verizon.
I have 30,
like a
probably 30
Verizon
maximum shoes. 30. Yeah.
I mean, I probably have that too. But
Yeah.
anyway.
I tell you, a certain person I used to live with, let's call her Lamey.
Blamey.
Lamey. When she no longer lived here, she moved away, but she left behind a lot of clothes, in particular shoes. And so I was bagging them up and gonna take them to her because I didn't wear them.
up.
I would literally was put. I kid you not. I am not exaggerating when I say this. I stopped counting at 120 pair. I stopped counting. Stop counting.
Is that because you can't? Go
I was just
anywhere?
like, I just said nobody's going to believe it anyway. If I got to 160 pair, people wouldn't believe it. So I just said, you know,
I think 120 is a good number to stop.
120 is where I stopped, and there were more, several more after that.
Remember the pictures I sent you today? Speaking of shoes, on my walk,
Oh yeah, a boot.
I was walking down the street, and there's just a brown shoe sitting on the side of the road. So I circled back, took a picture of it.
This
Did
is
I find
one,
that?
and it was a
I
nice
found
one. It was
that-
a good
I know,
shape.
It was nice. It didn't fit though.
Was it too small or?
Too small, yeah. And so I kept walking, and I'm not kidding. 100 yards up, I found the other shoe was 100 yards up. What's the story there? Is that story any better than the insole from, was it last week or 2 weeks ago?
That was a
It
couple
was just
weeks
on the
ago.
side of the
Yeah.
road. I mean, you can learn a lot just by going for a walk and just kind of seeing what's
Somebody
out there.
pissed. So I think maybe somebody was pissed at their significant other and their stuff was in the car, and they threw one out and then just yelling and screaming, and threw another one out. That had to be it.
Maybe it belonged to that girl that got kidnapped.
Kidnapped? I
What
don't know.
size
That
shoe
was-
did she have? Do you know?
No, they didn't get into details because it was the second story.
We
It
should
wasn't
find
the
that
lead.
out.
It
Yeah.
wasn't the lead. How about this one too? Let's not forget my pillow guy.
Oh yeah.
My pillow
Mike
guy.
Lindell.
Mike Lindell.
I'm Mike Lindell. I'm interrupting this commercial.
Which, by the way,
why is he?
I have a MyPillow. I have a MyPillow.
I have like 4.
I mean, I don't.
I love it.
But all it is all he did was he took pieces of styrofoam and cut them up.
It was a good idea. It worked.
I think what he thought, what he did was he saw people at like the little indoor jump-a-lee thing where you jump into the big foam pit, and people are just like,
put my head on that.
People are like, ah, and so he's like, you know what? I'm gonna take this stuff and
I'm a Mike Lindell. We have the mattress topper.
I have two of those pillows,
and we have the geezer sheets.
The geezer sheets?
Yeah.
What's that?
This is Mike Lindell. from the along the Nile River.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
They're nice.
Yeah, but they're
absorbent. So's the mattress pad, hopefully. The pillow doesn't need to be as absorbent, but the mattress pad and the sheets, man.
He lost like 20 stores. Like
because
his product was
pulled
because he was supporting Trump. They pulled from 20 stores, pulled them out. I'm like, what the hell? Like I don't know, just because
it's going to circle back.
Yeah, what's going to happen is the pendulum's going to swing very far the other way, and it's going to be off the rails the other way. Is what's going to happen. People are just going to be like,
it will. That's why it's just like you just got to like settle down, let it happen, let them embarrass themselves.
But you can't just let it happen because people are losing their livelihoods and shit because of it.
Temporarily, they'll come back. It'll all come back. It will, like you just said. The pendulum's going to go the other way.
Yeah, but it might be
and
too late for some
and the
people.
cancel people are going to be the ones that are just going to be like, and they're not coming back. The pendulum will not swing back the other way.
Well, it was funny. I mentioned earlier there's some cases of like in the higher education where it's kind of backfiring on some. You've got this college professor up at Skidmore College in New York, very liberal college. And this professor, communications professor, went to a Back the Blue rally. Back the Blue, which was, hey, we're supporting police. It's not really a political thing. It's like, hey, we're backing our police. And he went not as a participant in march or anything else. He went to observe and see what was going on as a communications professor. When students found out he went to it,
oh yeah, not good.
They canceled. They literally they dropped all his classes. He has 3 classes he teaches there. One of them, all the students dropped the class, and they put notes outside the door of the room saying, "Stop! You're entering a." I think they call him racist or whatever. It's a guy. All he did. He's not a conservative. He's a communications professor at a college, a liberal arts college in New York, and it's them eating their own.
I mean, they do. They're the best at eating themselves.
They
really will. They will, because what will happen is if they're like, all right, we want it to get this bad, and if you were like, oh, we only want it this bad, then the people that want it this bad will come back and destroy the people that only want it this bad. So you just gotta let that happen.
Let them
you gotta let that happen because people are just gonna say, no, we're not doing this anymore.
For fuck's sake!
I mean, I sent you that thing on Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
There were going to be people that say, you know what? I am not going to buy Coca-Cola anymore. And just so everybody knows what we're talking about here is like Coca-Cola is now going through this like, what was that? I don't
online training. It's
online
training class. It's a required training for people about white privilege. How to not. I think the thing says how to not be so white.
Yeah. I mean, eventually people are going to just say, I'm not dealing with that crap anymore, and they'll go somewhere else. Yeah. The best thing Pepsi could do is just sit back and be like, be quiet. Even if they think they feel that way, people are going to stop dealing with that crap. They just are.
Here's one, a Chinese expert, a guy, professor out at USC, University of Southern California. He's part of the U.S.-China delegation or some sort of thing, and he's an expert on Chinese and Chinese culture, and he was speaking Chinese, and he used the word. It's a filler word. It's like when we have words like well,
Yeah.
where people fill it in. And there's a word in Chinese that they use for that, and it's
Z.
no, it's Neige, like Niger or something like that. And he used it, and people thought he was using the N word. He was speaking freaking Mandarin, and so people have called for him to be canceled.
Oh my God!
It's like the one that
he's going to have his own sitcom at some point. That's going to be the name of the show.
Here's another example of them eating their own. The New York Times science editor, Daniel O'Neill or something like that. It's been the science editor for 30 years in New York Times, which is huge liberal publication. He got asked to resign, or he was forced to resign, I should say, because he was on a trip in Peru with kids, middle school, young high school kids, and one of the students asked him if it was right that her classmate got suspended because she had a video of people singing a rap song saying the N-word. And he said, well, which context did she use it in? Did she use it as a racial epithet, or did she use it as a rap hip hop kind of thing? And just by asking the question, he got asked to be removed. Them eating their own. They're eating their own. I think I got one more here for the education side. Yeah, San Francisco Public Schools. Do you see that?
No.
They're removing names of all schools.
Abraham Lincoln and
Washington, Jefferson, Lincoln. Yeah. Riddle me this. Why would they remove Lincoln? Wasn't Lincoln the one that signed it? So here we have.
That's what I'm saying. Biden's going to go down as the best fifth president that we've ever had.
Here we have a school system, which, by the way, is probably not doing as well as it should academically.
The school system's going down too.
Let's say that no, job one is you got one job, and that's to have kids better educated. But you're not doing that job in San Francisco. But secondly, you got a system where people have not been to school in over a year. They haven't been to school in over a year. And you can't tell me this virtual stuff is working. No, right? So they've essentially lost a year. They're going to end up losing a year and a half. And in San Francisco, the school board is putting their lead story is changing the names of the school instead of figuring out a way to get the schools open. It's like New York City now. Everything's called.
Does LeBron James get a school named after him?
I'm sure he does.
He's got to have at least one.
Yeah. Sure he does.
I mean, the public school system is going to just people are going to just like.
Well, think about New York City. So now,
it's only going to create
people are
more like separation of equality and everything like that.
Yeah. People are so worried about offending up in New York. Is all the schools are like PS and a number, public school and a number. So you don't even like, I go to Smith High School.
Yeah. It's like a Mercedes 320L. Or whatever it is, or whatever the numbers are.
You can't say L.
Oh, shoot.
Hey, let's talk about it. Now, where it's really popped in was the sports teams.
Yeah.
All right? So we've seen cancel culture in the sports world. And these ones are already deemed offensive. The Washington Redskins, right? The irony of that whole thing is, do you know who came up with that logo?
Who?
An American Indian.
Pocahontas.
An American Indian is the one that drew that logo, and for years their family has received royalties from that for, 70 years or so. I think it's 1933 is where it started.
I mean, that part.
And so they,
and that whole thing, like with the sports team, the names is one thing, but this thing has gotten over the top with the way that the players, the players' attitude is what is going to destroy their own league. Like this is where they're going to eat themselves.
well, you saw where with basketball, NBA.
Oh yeah, I mean
NBA, the numbers were so far down last year that's when the league commissioner said we're not kneeling.
Yeah,
we're not kneeling this year.
We're not doing it. But they I mean, this is worse than like remember years ago when they had like the Major League Baseball strike, and they're like, the fans aren't going to come back. Well, a lot of them didn't come back,
right?
And with this, it's like, who gives a crap about the NBA? Who cares about the NBA right now?
Yeah, I haven't really followed NBA since. To me, it was when after Magic was gone and Barkley was gone, Bird, Dr. J. Those were guys like the 80s. I did follow it. But then you got people like Iverson, very talented player, but always in and out of trouble. And then it didn't. And there's a lot of people coming in the league.
Nobody cares about this anymore.
No.
But it's just another way that the left took over sports. The left took them over, and they just said, listen, this is something that people like, that people are going to watch. We need to throw our message into this, and we need to indoctrinate that. And we're not, I mean, who wants to even watch this crap anymore? You know what I mean?
Well, this one here was funny to me. Valparaiso University, Valpo, they're the Crusaders. They're a Lutheran school. So they're a Christian-based school. But they said, we're dropping the name Crusaders, and we're not going to have the mascot that's in like a knight in shining armor kind of thing because it promotes violence. You got to remember that the Crusaders, sure, they were going out to try and convert everybody to I guess Catholicism at the time, but they're also fighting off the Moors who were trying to get everybody to be the Moops. So I think they did have to have battle gear on and swords and shit, but they're like, no, it's just too. Do you think when you watch a basketball game, you're like, ooh, that's an awful thing to say that you're a Crusader?
Who gives a crap? I mean, if you had a team called the Rapist, it'd be like, all right, you know what? That's a little over the top. Or the Murderers. Yeah. You know what I mean? Or like you could literally come up with the names that would be like, all right, that's probably not Cheaters, or the like. You could come up with names that people would be like, what, we should probably change that. Doesn't matter how cute the mascot is.
But Crusaders, who says, oh my goodness,
is just like
who's
nobody knows what the
by
fuck a Crusader is. Nobody knows what one is. They just think like rah rah rah. It's the same thing.
The people that spend an awful lot of time on this. Of course, the Cleveland Indians. Now, the Indians thing.
The Chicago, we didn't shave today.
Chicago's
sweatpants.
5 o'clock stubble.
Yeah. Think about wearing velour.
Chicago mask wearers.
The double masks. Go double masks.
But you think about the Cleveland Indians, right?
DELMASK, double mask.
But Cleveland Indians, I don't understand. Indian. Is that offensive?
There's no team out there called the Whites. White guys.
The Caucasians.
Yes. The white supremacists.
The Charlotte Caucasians.
Go white supremacists.
I don't know if somebody had a team, they called it the Charlotte Caucasians. I wouldn't be offended. I'd be like, well, that's kind of stupid and weird. I mean, they're going to lose, especially if it's basketball. They're going to lose.
The white supremacists. They killed the domestic
partners.
Partners, yeah. Now, I always remember like when we used to get the newspaper. The word of God. Remember that?
Yeah, it's cool.
They killed everybody.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, that's not fair. That's not fair at all.
Word of God, that's where like John Wall played and all them.
Especially their swimming
I don't
team.
think
they would just
walk on the.
They ran down and ran back. It's like, that's not fair.
Could you imagine, like, if there were swim lessons when Jesus was a baby, and his mom Mary be like, "Get in the pool, Jesus," and he's like, "I can't." And I'm
Yes.
walking around on top of the water.
It's kind of like with the transgender thing.
See, that might get us canceled.
Yeah,
talking about Jesus.
The transgender thing, right? Where like you've got these guys competing against the girls, and we're like, now all of a sudden you're like, you know what? Hold on a second, time out. We got Jesus over here. Jesus is gonna beat the transgenders and the girls. Boom, boom, boom. He's down the back, and he made wine from all the water bottles and everything like that.
They're getting Gatorade.
Let's watch for a second. Hold this up. Like, at what point are you putting the thing all the way to there? Well, like, didn't they go overboard?
I don't have the smallest wrist in the world, though.
I know, but if you can get that thing all the way up here, that's weird.
Speaking of the I almost said tranny. I'm sorry, the transgender. The athletes. Did you see? Yeah. Did you see the basketball one? The 7-foot dude that's playing women's.
That's awesome.
I mean, just awesome. Dominating, just freaking dominating.
Listen, we have to promote this. We have to promote it and encourage it.
Think about the pickle that these libtards are in. That are because they really don't want that to happen. They don't want some.
That's why it has to happen. I'm going to.
But how do they reconcile that?
I'm going to that game. I'm bringing a freaking sign.
How do they reconcile that?
Dunk on her.
But how do they reconcile? You see, like it was a cycling thing where two dudes, they claim themselves as or identify as female, won the cycling races, and they were on the first and second place podium and the third place. I mean,
what's the name of that movie with? I'm not going to know the names of the people.
Well, describe the movie. Why don't you just describe?
They're like married. They're like pretending to be married.
Oh, Chuck and Larry.
Yes. Like, how is it any different? Like, that's awesome. They should just do this.
Well, they did that for like what benefits, health benefits.
Yeah. Like, I think that. Could you imagine if like Shaquille O'Neal was just like, you know what? I'm doing this. I'm going to go play women's basketball. Listen, we're losing entertainment in sports at a rapid rate. This is one way to really bring it back. Put this massive dude in a wig.
But you notice too that I have to dig for those stories, you know.
He's got to shower for them.
Because mainstream media is not going to put it out there because they have to at least say this is ridiculous. You know, what we're promoting here is ridiculous.
I know, but you need more of it. That's why we need a movement here. Not a bowel movement. We need a movement to get this out there to show the world how freaking insane this is.
A movement. I think it moved.
Yeah.
George and the massage.
Yeah.
I think it moved.
And you somehow need to get like Dr. Jill Biden to go to one of these games and see her on the sidelines being like,
for fuck's sake. Yeah,
it's really happening here. This would be awesome.
Here's some other ones, though. Here's some other teams that I saw and I thought, okay, you know what? We probably need to change these. Cincinnati Reds. I mean, that has to be offensive because that is doing, what do we call it? Culturally appropriating communist.
That's a good one.
I think the Reds bothered me because, you know, communism, Reds.
What color is socialism? They have a color?
Red.
They have a hue?
It's red.
Yeah. They've got a different hue.
Cleveland Browns.
They have a different PMS red. The Browns.
The Browns. I know. You think about it.
The Fots.
You know what's funny? This is named after a family. The family that started the team, right. The Browns. And so I'm sure that there's like, if you went way back like 300 years, there's probably some
there's a slavery or something there. Yeah. The blacks.
Los Angeles Chargers. I think that's offensive to people that use credit cards.
Los Angeles Chargers, one of the 17 NFL teams to actually be in LA.
Keep on for the longest time. They didn't have a team in LA.
NLA.
Well, who's there now?
Instead
Well, you only
of
got
the
two
NFL,
because the
it should
Raiders
be
are in
NLA.
Vegas now.
I know, but there's too many teams in one city.
But you went. But how many? Think about how many years you went without a team in LA.
How many?
When the Rams were in St. Louis and the Raiders were in Oakland.
They kept throwing a team back there. They were like a holding. They were like a flight pattern.
Do you know what my care meter is at for NFL though?
Oh, I know.
It's awful. This one is I find this one offensive.
The Packers.
The Green Bay Packers.
Yeah.
To homosexuals.
And transgender. That covers 2 categories.
Yeah, that's got to be offensive to the LGBTQ plus community.
And Jake from State Farm hanging out with what's his name?
Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
This one, which we got a picture of right here, the Fighting Irish. How come? I mean, how is that not canceled? You have a little angry. First of all, it's a midget. It's a midget.
Does he ever do anything?
He's Irish, so you know he's drinking and he's angry.
Yeah, I don't know that he's ever doing anything with that though. He's just like, come on, I dare you, and everybody's just like, okay.
You know, a local university here had Elon.
Uh-huh.
They used to be called the Fighting Christians.
Yeah.
And they changed because they were afraid that they wouldn't get some students that they were targeting. And I don't know what they would be targeting that would be offended by
What did they change
to? The Phoenix.
With an F?
No.
Okay. Just checking. Then that would have been really radical. They went with the F.
How about this one? This was my Super Bowl, which you didn't see.
No, I was in here for that.
So I created a meme for it. When you can't decide who you want to win the Super Bowl, you decide to go forward and offend all parties. So I was a chiefaineer. I had my headdress on.
And an eye patch?
And an eye patch.
How long did you wear the eye patch?
The entire game, but I had to keep switching.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I kept switching the whole time. So I really didn't care who won the game, so I was like, all right, I'll offend all of them.
It's a good one.
I was thinking, should I be called chiefaineer or Buck a Chief? I'm thinking chiefaineer. Yeah. Thinking you think that's an awkward ending. How about this? You can't even have breakfast anymore without offending people, right? Think in 1950, kids were saying, "I'll bet in 70 years we'll have flying cars." With 2020, it's now instead of people dreaming for the stars and everything else, it's this syrup is racist.
Yeah.
So you think about it. If you want to have breakfast now, you want to have breakfast.
Right.
You can't. Everything's been canceled. I can't get any. I think I listed them here. I can't get any syrup. It's been canceled, right? Aunt Jemima, Mrs. Butterworth,
right?
Canceled.
What's wrong with Mrs. Butterworth?
They said they changed that one too because they said the Mrs. Butterworth's body
is fat.
They call it shaped mammy body, which is like. But they said it's like a slave that served the main house. But Mrs. Butterworth in those commercials was always like an old fat white lady, right?
I mean, what are you going to make it look like, Oprah?
Wait, which Oprah? Better. Which Oprah?
Yeah, it could be. They'll have to change it like every 5 years.
Yeah, so you can't get syrup. I can't have that. Butter. Land O'Lakes had the Native American on it.
Oh, that's right.
Can't have that. No butter. No butter for my pancakes. No syrup. So if I can't have syrup and butter, I'm not eating pancakes. So maybe I can go to oatmeal. Nope. Canceled. Quaker.
Wait, Quakers
stereotype.
too?
They're stereotyping the Quakers with the guy with the hat and little curly hair.
I know, but what did they do wrong?
Nothing. It's just you're just culturally appropriating. You can't do that anymore.
Huh.
So
you can't put
any PepsiCo, who owns Quaker, is changing the image, removing that image too.
To what?
I don't know.
To an oat?
I don't know.
Just an oat?
I don't know. So, all right. So I can't have oatmeal. So now what am I going to have? Am I having cream of wheat?
Oh, yeah. No.
No, can't have that.
No. Done.
The funniest part about cream of wheat is the guy on the box, Frank White, he was a real chef in Chicago. And his family makes royalties on that every year.
But the thing is, if you put a white person on a box, you're racist. You put a black person on a box, you're racist.
Well, the thing is the guy that's on the box of cream of wheat was a legit guy. He was a legit chef back in the 30s.
But he was a black guy.
But
shouldn't that be like, yeah, all right, we got one here. We got a guy on the box.
Canceled.
Dang it.
And bananas. Like, fuck it. I can't have pancakes. I can't have oatmeal. I can't have cream of wheat.
Because of like...
Because the Chiquita bananas, they have that little, the Chiquita lady. And that's
I'm glad I didn't say what I was going to say. You would have been like, settle down there.
So you can't even have breakfast anymore. All right, so forget breakfast. I'm going to have some rice.
Nope.
No Uncle Ben's. You could go through a store and just walk down the aisles and just say, I can't have that, cancel.
It's just going to be like food. Your shopping list is going to be like, all right, I got to get like 7 items here. Food, beverage, food, beer.
Beer.
Are there any offensive beers?
Oh, sure. St. Pauli Girl.
That's not offensive.
Not to me.
I mean, even everybody likes that one.
The beer?
I can't even say it because you're going to say, well, hold on. Just settle down, dude. I'll tell you when we get off air.
Offline.
Hold on. I'll email it to you. It'll show up on your screen there.
I know we have, what do we have coming up? Well, tax season, we're going to have a funny tax episode coming up.
We're getting my book of rules.
We do need to get your book
I'm going to get Jake and Juliana to do the show with us, and we'll put a little picture of Greg up, and we'll call him, and they can explain.
We can bring Greg in.
We can explain the book of rules.
Yeah, we can bring Greg in. I mean, he can.
Oh, we can bring in?
Mm-hmm.
All right. I think that would be a fun show. Because I think this is something that people could learn from, especially during these challenging times.
These challenging times. But we're all in this together.
I mean, it'll be an opportunity for us to stay safe.
Stay safe. Okay, all right. Well, that should do it for us. From Now That's a Show. So till next time, we'll check in with you later and stay safe.